Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hell is Other Demons. Forgot that we were taking on the Lurker. Well, here we go. If I recall, I just played this yesterday. I don't know why I'm real forgetful, but if I remember correctly, he is not that difficult to deal with. It's a lot of like, I don't know, not being dumb at the end of the day, which is hard for me to do. You know, like if you watch me play any Isaac at all, it is extremely hard for me to do. But that's why I don't play Isaac anymore. At least for now. I'll play it eventually again. Probably when Repentance comes out, honestly. Because I mean, like, you know, I've already talked about this at length. I think in like the Let's Take a Look At video I did of this game actually, which maybe isn't going to make the greatest first impression on people, but anyway. Regardless, you know, I mean, like, there's just, you know, it got really repetitive at the end of the day. Holy shit. Easy there, bud. This is our best performance thus far. But, okay, here we go. Things are changing up a little bit. I imagine it's gonna get harder, yeah. Okay, so we broke his, his exoskeleton, and now it's, I mean, I don't know what the, other terminology is. Ha! Shit. You know, I'll talk about this in a second, but, yeah, you know, I mean, it just got overly repetitive for me, honestly. And not that I wasn't enjoying it, but, you know, it didn't really seem to be a goal in mind with it. And I really want to make space for new games on the channel. You know, I'm fine with doing long-running series, don't get me wrong, but I want to make sure that I give myself the time and the space to look at, you know, new games and other games and different games and all sorts of neat things like that. Jesus Christ. You know, so that's one of the big reasons why Isaac is not on the channel anymore. And the nice thing is that when Repentance comes out, that will be something that's new. You know, it'll have some new stuff. Why did I fall off there? I was sitting on the ledge. I don't know, maybe I'm losing my mind. But, what I was gonna say earlier about his exoskeleton was that I know next to nothing about anything science related. And yet, you know, for whatever reason, I think it's a good idea for me to go try and study something in a science related field. I'm studying, you know, atmospheric sciences, which is, you know, it's right there in the name. It's a science thing, and I have always been terrible with science and math, and with any STEM field really, you have to be good at those things. It's, you know, it's inherently part of the job. And I've never been that good at them at all. Like I remember in high school, I tried taking college level calculus in high school because I was like, you know, hey, I can knock this out of the way right here and now, and it'll boost my GPA too if I do well in the class. So, you know, double bonus. And everyone else in that class was doing just fine, but I could not get a grasp of the concepts whatsoever, you know. I didn't understand. You know, it led to me realizing that I can't do this. Like, I can't handle it. You know, I'm not smart enough for this. And, you know, so I dropped out of the class because I think... you know, it was like halfway through the semester, And by that point, I had already accrued a 41% in the class. And I was trying. Believe me, I was trying, you know. And sometimes I felt like I would understand concepts, and then, you know, apparently I didn't, because things would change on me in an instant. You know, good God, man. This is pretty difficult, actually. And, I mean, you know, it's just, I don't know. Now, I studied, you know, in college for a little while. I studied journalism because I thought I wanted to do that, and might still want to do something with that, but just have it be weather related. You know, I might want to be a weather boy, you know, or something like that. You know, you go on the weather with your suit and tie, and you're like, here's your 7-day forecast. This is what you need to worry about. You know, if there's nothing to worry about, we have a good time. Here's how traffic is gonna look for the game tonight. You know, is the weather gonna impact the game tonight? You know, et cetera, et cetera. Although, you know, contrary to what you may believe, I don't think I'm good in front of a camera. I'm fine behind a mic. You know, I've done some radio stuff before. You know, and I do this, and I'm relatively confident in myself, and you know, I feel fairly relaxed doing it as well. But being on camera is something totally different. And on this channel, actually, I tried doing face cam, I think, for like a couple months, something like that, like 3 years ago, and you know, I mean, I like looking back on those now. Obviously, you know, you're always going to look back on your older work and kind of perceive it to not be the greatest stuff that you've put out. But, you know, that stuff was truly atrocious. You know, I'm glad that, well, I mean, I think a decent chunk of it is still on the channel. It wasn't bad. It's just, I didn't like seeing my face on camera, you know? But anyway. I like just talking behind the mic and then having the full game displayed on the screen, you know, and that way, you know, I don't have to make myself look good for anybody either, you know? If I want to, I don't know. I mean, it's not like I look bad at any given moment, but I don't know. I don't want to have to feel like I have to appeal to certain standards or something like that, you know? But anyway, yeah, I mean, the content I was putting out 3, 4, 5 years ago is, I mean, I was largely inspired by, you know, people like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and those in the Game Grumps too, and you know, and those guys typically engaged in the like the loud, screaming kind of gaming content, you know, where you gotta essentially overreact to everything, and that's kind of what I did. I kind of drew inspiration from that. And looking back on it now, I wish I didn't, but I mean, you know, you're inspired by what you're inspired by, you know, you can't really help it. It's just that who I am and who I'm inspired by has changed significantly since then. Don't get me wrong, still like those guys. I think they're always going to hold a special place, you know, for me, both on an inspirational level and a you know, like on a just on an entertainment level as well. Can't believe we got through that, by the way. But go back up here. You know, but I like since then my inspirations have changed. You know, I started watching Northern Lion and the people he does content with, and you know, I started watching a lot of music-based channels as well. Anthony Fantano, you know, people like him. And those guys, sorry, I'm going to talk for a second here while taking a look at this stuff, so it might take me a little bit longer, but, you know, those guys, like, they have a different way of approaching their content. It's not the loud, you know, high-tempo kind of content that, you know, the Markipliers and the Jacksepticeyes of the YouTube world were putting out, or are putting out. You know, it's kind of mellow. You know, it's entertaining, but it's mellow. You know, it's not really like, I'm gonna shove my personality into your face, kind of ordeal. I mean, at this point, we might as well just buy this, because I'm not gonna buy anything else. You know, I mean, like, is that it? Okay, cool. All right. You know, and so my inspirations and my creative inspirations have changed, a lot, you know, and so as a result, like, the kind of content that I'm putting out has changed as well. And, you know, I personally think it's for the better, but maybe 3 years from now, I'll look back on it and, I'll be like, yeah, this sucks. Why was I doing it like that when I should have been doing it like this, you know? But of course, you know, like I said before, you're always going to look back on your previous work and you're going to be like, that could have been better, you know, or that was terrible, you know. I used to write a lot. I don't really write anymore, which I want to get back into that, but, you know, I like, it was the same thing with writing too, with creative writing, you know. It's always like, you know, you think you write something really good, and then you look back on it maybe 2-3 years later, and you're like, yeah, this was terrible, you know. Why was I writing this? Or why was I writing like this? Or why did I write about this, you know? And I mean, it's especially prominent in younger people. But your styles and you know, what you're motivated by and what you're into change a lot, you know, as you mature and as you grow. And even, you know, when you're older as well, you know, it changes. It might take longer for it to change, or the change might not be as significant, but it's still there, you know. Oh, I should have saved it. I didn't know this was coming. You know, it changes, and it continues changing really for like for the entirety of your life. And you know, if that changes, what you create and what you want to do with your creations changes as well. I was really close. I think they were the last two enemies. I'm very mad about that, but you know, it changes, and as a result, what you do with, you know, your own content and what you're making, you know, and what you want to do with it and what you want out of it kind of changes as well. Granted, I haven't really made anything too extravagant, like a novel or an album or anything like that, you know, anything that's really substantial. And I think in those cases it might be different. You know, I know for some artists there are songs that they have written that they don't like playing anymore, or performing, or they hate, you know, largely because of their popularity that's associated with them. But I don't think, you know, there are too many artists at all that kind of look at their own albums and are like, yeah, that album sucked, you know? I mean, like, you know, I wish I didn't make that. I think it was immature and could have been better. I think maybe the most recent example of that I can think of was Eminem, you know, with Revival, you know, that terrible album he put out. Was it last year? Early last year, or was it 2017? And then, you know, he comes out with a surprise album, you know, Kamikaze, and that one is significantly better, and it kind of, you know, touches upon the fact that, like, you know, people didn't like the Revival album. He doesn't really explicitly say that he doesn't like the album either, but, you know, it does kind of touch upon the fact that, like, you know, he's not proud of his work to some extent. But maybe I'm interpreting that the wrong way. But hey, we did it. You know, but I think it can happen. It's just not as often with big extended works like albums and novels and stuff like that. I didn't mean to retry it. No. Yes. Yeah, because we're on the geysers now. Okay. Oh, no ultimate. Oh, hey, look at that. Ah, I see. So if you do any one of these things here, you get a little one of these dots that are checked. And this was the first level I actually did that. Ha! Look at that. No weapon. How can you beat any of these levels with no weapon? Dude. That's crazy. I mean, we have so much money. We can increase our load. Sensitive skin. There we go. Beautiful. Alrighty, let's give this a shot. In my eyes, the more upgrades, the better. You know, I'm not trying to be efficient here. I'll take as many of them as I can get. Hey, hey. There we go. No, 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 no. Hey, stop. Don't cheat, dude. And by cheat, I mean don't try and hurt me. Oh, I see, that's me when I'm getting hit. I'm exploding like that. I thought that was like some enemy attack and I was getting freaked out by it, you know, but it turns out it was me. You know, and to kind of touch upon the whole creative stuff as well, I guess another, not element, or like the opposite idea, because it's not really an like an opposing idea to what I was talking about, but I do think that, you know, being creative for the sake of being creative is a lot, or I mean, is very good inherently, and that you shouldn't be disappointed in what you create, regardless if you don't think it's good. You know, I don't think you should be disappointed in what you make, because it's still something that you made. It's still something that you put time and effort into, and it's still your own work at the end of the day, you know. And for that, you know, with that in mind, it bears that kind of you know, that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Allow me to rephrase, because I think I phrased that incorrectly. You know, I think that, you know, myself included, a lot of people are, you know, can take a look at their own work and the stuff that they've created, and are so quick to judge it and, you know, view it in a negative light, when in reality, you know, I think that it's important that you note that, like, hey, you made that, you know, you put time into that, and you created that with your own brain, and that's pretty cool. You know, I mean, like, even earlier in this episode, I was talking about, you know, how much I don't like the kind of content that I used to make, but I still, you know, I poured, well, I don't want to, like, sound melodramatic about it, but I poured my heart and soul into that content, you know. I would spend a lot of time editing it, you know. I wanted to make sure that I was making entertaining content as well. Why is it taking us such a short amount of time to get through these? Am I doing something wrong? I mean, I like, we're beating them, but like, it's taking me like 40 seconds. I didn't mean to retry it. I'm so used to doing that, because I'm so used to losing all the time. Infernal Gateway. Ooh, this is interesting. Ooh, okay, so we have some pretty standard platforming elements here. What do we got here? What's this? Is this an enemy? I mean, I can't shoot it. What's happening? I'm gonna go this way. Oh, okay. So it's just like a, I don't know, maybe like a halfway point, something like that. Anyway, let's go here. But, yeah, you know, I just think people are too harsh on themselves sometimes from a creative standpoint. I do think that it kind of, or it can serve as motivation to make content that you're more proud of and, or create things that are better, you know, but I also think that it can be a little damaging to your psyche as well, you know, because you kind of tell yourself that, you know, what you're making isn't good enough and that it doesn't have any merit, you know, which is discouraging in its own way. But, you know, everybody's different at the end of the day. You know, there are some people that are motivated by telling themselves that what they've made in the past isn't good enough. You know, there are some people that, you know, that works for them. And if that works for you, you know, by all means, go ahead, use it. But I think largely it doesn't work for a lot of people. Dude, why do I keep doing this? You know, and I just think it's important to kind of take it easy on yourself at the end of the day. You know, I mean, like, you're always going to be your biggest critic, you know, like regardless of the people that you meet and the people that interact with your work, you know, you're always going to be your biggest critic, you know, unless you're a narcissist. But I mean, you know, you're always gonna, you know, hate what you make and kind of compare yourself to other people, and you just gotta do what you want to do at the end of the day. You know, if you want to try and outdo yourself, do it by all means. But if you what the hell, that took us 31 seconds, Jesus Christ. You know, but if you're like, dude, I did it again. You know, I mean, if it works for you, cool. I just think that it can be damaging at the end of the day. That's really what I'm trying to say. I keep like adding on to it as if the message isn't clear enough already. I have a tendency to do that. I don't know why we're getting through these levels so insanely quickly. I mean, is that sensitive skin upgrade really that good? Or like, am I just a god? You know, it might be a little bit of a mix of both, but I really think it's me playing at a godly level right now. I mean, I have gotten better, you know, that's for sure. But I still make plenty of stupid mistakes. But I don't know, the consequences aren't as bad, which is nice. You know, the one thing with Isaac and like Gungeon and those kinds of games is that if you die, you know, you can lose like sometimes like an hour's worth of work. You know, you poured a bunch of work into that and you can lose and then all of it goes away. But if I die here, you know, I can just retry the level and you know, it's a little more relaxed in that way. Granted, you know, with games like Gungeon and Isaac, that also makes the stakes higher, which makes the thrill of winning, you know, better. But I mean, I don't know. It's a subjective thing, of course, you know, like everything. But in my opinion, you know, I don't like the stakes being too high all the time. You know. All right. Okay, this is where we were last time. Fuck these guys. These guys are awful. I don't even know how to get around them. Had to use my ultimate there. Why you gotta position yourself in a spot like that, okay? Makes it so much harder on me. Now I'm probably gonna die. Nope, never mind. Yep, there we go. God damn it. Well, I mean, we got through like, what? Not like 10 levels, but we got through a massive chunk of levels this episode. So if I can't make it through this one, I don't think there's too much harm done. Dude. See, that's where the overheal upgrade would come in handy, you know, for once. I mean, like, that's the first time I've seen that happen, you know, where there's a heart that spawned in, and I wouldn't have been able to actually take it. Now we can use it. Thank you, thank you. You answered my prayers, dude. It's like you were listening to me. God, are you there? Reminds me of, what's that show on Netflix? Not Netflix, God. ABC. God Friended Me. Haven't watched it. Don't think I'm missing out on much. But I would watch, or I would see commercials for it because I don't know why else I would watch ABC other than for football. I think that's probably what it was for. And I mean, like, it looked like a god-awful show. But, you know, I mean, hey, it's appealing to its target demographic. You know, I mean, like, the only people watching ABC for its shows are probably, like, middle-aged white moms and, you know, old people. So, but I, like, I don't know. You know, the thing with, like, cable TV shows, you know, like ABC, NBC, CBS, the thing with like sitcoms and TV shows on there is that, like, they all have the same kind of feel. They just all feel really fake, you know? Like, and I don't know how else to describe it, but they all feel like really bland and fake, you know? Whereas something you come across Netflix or Hulu, on the other hand, for some reason that feels more real than something that's on, you know, one of those cable networks. And I don't know what the reasoning for that might be, but I think, you know, I mean, for one thing, the kind of shows that are on Netflix are relatively different than the kind of shows that are on, you know, those cable networks, because they have different audiences that they're trying to target. You know, Netflix's demographic is largely probably younger people than that of cable networks. You know, so obviously you're going to try and appeal to the largest common denominator at the end of the day with whatever you're trying to make. It's shows like that confuse me, like, you know, like God Friended Me, where it's, you know, it's obviously trying to appeal to younger people, yet it's using something that would actually appeal to older people and the demographic that it is already established. You know, I don't know if they think that, like, they'll be able to reel in everybody with that, but they're definitely not going to reel in, you know, young people with that. Like, nobody wants to watch something like that. I mean, like, I don't want to speak for everybody, but, you know, I don't think there's anybody I know that would be interested in watching a show like that, you know. I mean, like, even if they are, like, you know, religious types, I don't think anybody I know would want to watch something like that. You know, I mean, it just seems incredibly, like, I don't know, stupid. Like, what's the point? You know, like, I don't know. That's kind of getting a little touchy with that subject. I'm gonna skirt away from that real quick. I'm also gonna make this my last attempt for this episode, because I mean, we've made significant progress this episode. Like, we don't need to fret right now. We are in a very good and solid spot. And the way I currently see things with this game is that we're probably going to play this for a little while longer, essentially until I, you know, stop having fun with it. which hasn't happened yet, so I'm just going to continue to play it. You know, but if things get really over repetitive, I'll probably cut it short, but that hasn't, you know, it doesn't feel that way to me yet, so I'm going to keep at it. And we might actually beat it here. This is my best run so far. Oh yeah, dude, we did it. Look at that. What a great way to cap off the end of the episode. Hell yeah, I almost did it. I almost did it, then I caught myself. Alright, so we've got endless. Alright, we've got... There's a boss fight down here. I'm assuming we're trying to get down this way. Like down the middle here, but I don't really know. Regardless, that is the end for this episode, so if you guys enjoyed it, let me know down in the comment section below, like the video and share with your friends. Let me know you want to see more of any game series I do here on the channel. The link down to the game is in the description box below if you want to pick it up for yourself. Subscribe to my, subscribe to my channel for more gaming content. I'll play all sorts of games on my channel. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and I will talk to you later.